Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this video marks the end of the week number 44 in this Road to 100k Realized Return Challenge, and it has been a week of ups and downs, all the way from euphoria to some panic, but over time, as things settle down towards the end of the week, the markets became pretty much in the same situation where they started. And starting here for the QQQ, you will see, if I show the weekly graph here, the stock basically ended pretty much where it started, a little bit up. However, there were a few cases here in which we were stopped because amongst with the calls that we sold here in this situation here on Monday. And this was shortly after I recorded the video of the beginning of this week. Basically what happened was in here, this small candle over here, it basically, as small as it was, it basically triggered our stop loss for the calls that we sold. We let the calls we let the market go all the way up here, and then we sold the call the calls more or less around here, but still the stock, because it appeared that given this candle over here, it appeared that the momentum may have been shifted, and so I decided to move ahead. But yeah, because this bigger candle here, we were basically stopped at this point. And so at that point we waited a little bit more, we put another call, we sold another calls, and then nothing happened afterwards. The calls were not, the stop loss of the calls were not triggered, and so yeah, everything then just came together. There was this particular moment here at the start of Wednesday in which the news came out that a federal court basically ruled out the possibility of tariffs being imposed, because it was not possible from a legal perspective. And so the markets opened up in the much higher than when they ended the previous day. However, shortly afterwards, the news came out that the US administration still has the power to fight that prohibition in the courts. And so as that happened, and of course because of the understanding that the US administration will try to do everything they can to impose the tariffs, and so the markets came down all the way throughout the day. And then by the way, this was Thursday, not Wednesday, because this was a shortened week. This was only a 4-day week. It was a holiday on Monday. But then a very interesting case happened on Friday. And if you see here, this was the chart only for Friday, which was very dramatic. It was up and down, and basically what happened was that the US President Donald Trump accused China of violating the current trade agreements, and because of that we were stopped at this point here, as you can see, because there was this big upswing. Our stop loss still survived more or less until this point, but it could not keep any more away from the stop, and so we were stopped here. But then we sold other calls here, because it appeared that the momentum have shifted here. And so the options that we sold, which are these ones right here, these ones with a slightly higher strike price. By the way, this stop loss was basically a one-time shot into the values of the stop loss. It came down, the value of the calls came down shortly afterwards. So it was just really hit the stop loss and then coming back down. But then again, The second set of calls that we sold became almost worthless at this point, but still, because it did not achieve the 1 cent that I set up to buy the calls back, the calls began gathering momentum, and the price came back again, increasing. But of course, because the time value was much lower, they never came back to the same price, and so they actually expired worthless, or at 1 cent. We bought them back at 1 cent, more or less around here. So basically it was a big momentum. I don't know if I still have them here. Probably I don't. No, I don't. But yeah, and then at the end of the day, shortly before, a few seconds before the section was up, we were still able to sell a few more calls here, which was basically these ones to gather some additional premium. So all in all, over the week, we managed to collect a little bit more than $171. All right. Net, of course, of the losses that we had with those stop losses. This also includes this gain that we had on the Pfizer puts that we sold, on the puts that we sold on Monday here, on Monday, or rather on Tuesday, because basically they came at some point, they were just valued at 1 cent, and so we bought those back and we rolled over the position. Another 4 calls expiring next week here to get some more premium, and yeah, this was basically our best trade for the week because of the annualized return. But nonetheless, this is how we went for the Qs. For Pfizer, it was also another roller coaster of a week. Here, this is the weekly graph. As you can see, it was up and down all the way, and yet the stock remains, in terms of what we want, it remains a little in a no man's land, because it doesn't come nowhere close the put strike prices that we sold, but at the same time it doesn't come also close to the price at which we set our calls in order for us to sell the shares. So as things stand at the moment, we will have to continue selling our puts with the buying power that we have available, and at some point either the stock will hit those lows in order for us to buy more shares, or wait until it comes back and eventually reaches the strike price of these calls. There's nothing we can do now for the moment except extracting as much money as we can out of this buying power that we have through the puts, and hopefully once we buy more shares, we will be able to try to sell the stock at a lower strike price. In about 2 weeks' time, Pfizer will also pay us the dividend, which will be, I think, about right around €1,000. So it's also a positive development. But yeah, as things stand, we will have to wait and see what happens. This time, this particular set of calls are already available to be bought at 1 cent, but because we bought them at 2 cents, we will not be able to buy them, because if we do, the commissions will basically eat the majority of our gains, and so we'll just let it expire at the end of next week. And yeah, basically that's all that we can do. And yeah, we will have to see what happens during next week. In the meantime, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below. Also, any questions you may have, you can leave those in there, or you can send me a DM on LinkedIn. And of course, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And we will reconvene next Monday, because next week is a full week of trading, and we will reconvene next Monday to start the week number 45 in this challenge. And I'll see you there.